There's a comment I've been seeing a lot lately, and I wanted to take the time to address it. It's usually in the format of something like, man, I missed the old Theo videos. I really liked when Theo would talk about tech and new frameworks and TypeScript, and now all he does is shill AI stuff that he makes money off of. I have a lot of thoughts about this. My first one is that when I look at my channel, sure, there is quite a bit more AI, but there's also a deep dive video on database technology and why I like different things. There's a video about a Tailwind drama that was pretty in-depth that I actually really liked. There's a detailed video on me moving off of Next in favor of Tanstack Start that was basically zero AI. I had one of my favorite videos I've ever done where I broke down logging and how to do it right in applications at scale. I have my parsing 2 billion rows video, which sure is for an AI chat app, but it's a deep tech dive. And then my CSS video that nobody watched because it turns out not everyone does want to see the tech content. That all said, I do recognize that that is about a third to half of my recent videos. And the rest are AI related, like what happens now and even Linus's vibe coding. So why the shift? Am I being paid a whole bunch of money to talk about and chill AI stuff? Am I doing this because I suck at coding now? Or is there some deeper motivation? I have a lot of thoughts on this. I don't think y'all understand both how deeply I think about what I talk about, but also how little I plan in this higher level way. The simplest way to put it is that I make videos based on what I am interested in and excited about at any given time. And the longer way of putting it will come right after the break for today's sponsor. I have some bad news. You're wasting your teammates' time. Unless you're using today's sponsor, Greptile. It's the best way to get AI code reviews. I know that sounds crazy, but it turns out AI is super useful for this. When you're doing code reviews, how often are you stopping just to catch things like small syntax errors or looking really deeply to see how this affects the function that's calling it? Wouldn't it be nice if all of those types of things could be caught so your role in code review is much more focused on the higher level what's going on? That'd be great, but there's no way these tools can catch real bugs, right? Well, you could go check all of my open source repos that are running Greptile, or you can look through their list on their website, which, by the way, I convinced them to add, and now it's been very useful. It's so cool to see because a ton of other big open source projects are using it, from PostHog to Mastra to NVIDIA, Storybook, Raycast, and many more. Let's pick a Raycast one. I love Raycast. Here there was a rough case where custom NPX path could have come in as an empty string, which would have broken this check. And here we have a trim call that's going to handle that for you. Super easy to fix. Here's a PR somebody opened on Skatebench, and Greptile left a review. One of my favorite things about Greptile reviews is the confidence score. This is so nice for knowing if work is worth looking into or if you should just wait. So when I see a lower score, I know this isn't something I can just go vibe merge. It's a really good top-level indication of if something is worth going deeper on or not. Love it. Your first 14 days are free. If you're open source, it's free. And if you're a startup, it's 50% off. Stop shipping bugs and wasting your teammates' time at soydev.link/Greptile. Before I go too deep into why I'm talking about AI so much, I think we need to talk a bit about the history of my YouTube channel, because I didn't ever want to be a YouTuber. I have always been a degenerate YouTube watcher. Like, I have spent far too much time watching videos on this platform, and I still do to this day. But the channel didn't start because I had all these crazy ideas for videos or I wanted to be a YouTuber. It started for very different reasons. This channel is actually the YouTube account I have used since I was a kid. It's existed for like 18 years or so, I believe. I had one video I uploaded when the iPhone 11 came out demoing the ability to film skate footage with the ultra-wide camera. But then I didn't do anything on it because it was just the channel I used to watch YouTube. What happened was more so on Twitter. During COVID, I left my job at Twitch, and I really missed talking about the things I was nerdy about that I would talk about with my coworkers. When a new framework like Svelte dropped, or some cool TypeScript changes were happening, or I got really interested in Zustand and Jodi and all these new state management libraries, or just deep dove on Elixir for a long time. All those types of things were exciting to me, and I was so lucky to have an awesome set of coworkers when I was at Twitch that would hang out with me at lunch and dinner, and I could nerd out about this stuff with them. Most of those people were much more experienced and smarter than me, so it was a fun way to bring the things that were exciting to me and be countered by the people who were not as excited anymore for various reasons, but had the knowledge and institutional history to push back on some of those things. And it was a really fun way to bring my excitement and energy and have it contrast with experienced developers and try to come to a middle ground. And as I got more experience and had more and more of these conversations, I started to really internalize the lessons from those more talented developers that I'd been working with for so long. That was where so much of my growth came from. And by the time I left Twitch, I was able to be on both sides of that conversation. I could be the excited person, but I could also be the one who pushed back on that excitement. What I was missing was people to have on the opposite side of the table from me. And I missed it so much. I missed it so much that I started participating actively in Twitter Spaces, which was a way to just get in a group with a couple people and a bunch of listeners where we could nerd out about whatever. For a long time, there was a Spaces series that was hosted by Jacob Evans, who is still one of my best friends to this day. Jacob would host a Twitter Space every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday afternoon, where we would just nerd out about what was called code and life. We just talked about whatever was interesting to us. I had like 40 or 50 followers probably at the time and started showing up because I wanted to nerd out, and other people were there. I was showing up and listening and had thoughts on some of the topics. So I requested to speak and did, and then had a lot to say. I got more and more involved in these places because I wanted to nerd out. I wanted to talk about these things that were interesting and exciting to me. And I talked my poor roommate's ear off. That roommate is now Mark, my CTO. And I obviously still talk his ear off, but I needed more places to just get this out of me. When I'm excited about things, I want to talk about them and discuss them. It's essential to how I process the things myself. You've probably seen in my videos before, the take I have at the start could be very different from the one I have at the end, because the process of talking it through and also hanging out with my Twitch chat live, hi guys, was so helpful for me in forming my own ideas on these things. And I really liked that conversational back and forth side. Really wanted to have that as an essential part of my content. So why the hell did I start doing videos? Because that's not that. This is me preaching to you. It's not us having the back and forth. It happened because in the Twitter Spaces, I was struggling to convey some of the things that I wanted to show. Real quick, just to emphasize how much I cared about this conversational stuff, I think seeing my first startup will help you deeply understand. I built Ping to make it easier to do collaborative content. So if I wanted to bring an experienced engineer on who was building something cool to talk about it with them, I could. The whole point of this project was to make the types of conversations I was excited about easier to do and turn into content that could be shared. And as I built this, my own engineering takes developed a ton really quickly because I was experimenting with all sorts of new tools so that I could avoid hiring and instead focus on building quality solutions with a small locked-in team. What I ended up settling on was what we now know as the T3 stack, which was a combination of Next.js, TRPC, Prisma, Tailwind, React, and of course, TypeScript. People to this day think that T3 stands for Tailwind, TypeScript, and TRPC. It actually stands for Theo. The 3 is the 3 letters after the T. I've had the domain t3.gg since before Tailwind and TRPC even existed. So sure, we can retcon it if you guys want to. That was not the point though. So why does this video exist? Spoiler, it's not actually a video. What happened was I was trying to explain this tech to my friends in these Twitter Spaces and how much it was helping me build and changing how I built. And it was hard to explain that with just words and no video or code or anything to showcase. So I ended up going to one of Jacob's projects and rewriting it in my stack. When I did that, Jacob was blown away and saw the value very quickly. I took his 5,000 line of code, mess of weird Firebase stuff, and turned it into a really simple 500 line of code project that took advantage of all the things I have in this thumbnail. He understood. And then we tried to explain this to people and still had the same problem. And I couldn't just go and clone and rewrite every single person's project to prove out the stack. So I did something different. I went live on Twitch without a guest, which at the time I only went live to test Ping really. So I went live and built a new app from scratch using my stack. And the goal was simple. I wanted to showcase the tech I used, why I used it, and how cool it was when you built in this way, and how fast you could stand up an app when you build this way. And it went way better than expected. The stream only had like 5 to 10 people watching, which is hilarious because right now there's a few thousand, which is just still so unbelievable to me. Thank you all, by the way. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider hitting that button. It does help us a lot. But the fact that there are so many of you here and that we're so close to hitting 500K is just unfathomable because I started with a few dozen followers on Twitter just talking about things I cared about, and here we are. So this stream, actually, I bet if we look at the footage, we can see in the chat that I have open randomly throughout just how few people there were. Not open the chat at any point in this. I had so few chatters that I didn't even like bother opening the Twitch chat throughout because there just wasn't anyone. That is hilarious and very me. So again, I was a nobody just building this way, wanting to showcase why I built this way to people. And what ended up happening is that video got almost 300,000 plays. largely because the next video I did was me doing an interview with Dan Abramov. Again, I like conversations and collaborations, but also have a lot of opinions about job interviews. And I reached out to Dan because he was doing a bunch of mock job interviews, and I wanted to do a better one because I care a lot about interview culture in tech. That video obviously did well because Dan Abramov, but as a weird side effect of it, a lot of people went to this video. And that was crazy. For a little bit, this original T3 Stack video was performing better than the Dan Abramov interview. This wasn't a video, though. The point of this was never to be a video. The only reason it's on YouTube at all is because after my stream, people were asking for it in those Twitter spaces, and none of them wanted to use the god-awful Twitch VOD player to watch. So I just downloaded the exact stream, made no edits, and re-uploaded it on YouTube, and it did way better than I ever would have imagined. So a couple things to learn from this. One is that I just want to nerd out. That's the point of all of this, is I have these things I want to talk about. And if you ask anybody who knows me in person, I'm exactly the same as I am on the channel. I just want to geek out about the things I'm excited by. I like having deep conversations about the things I'm nerdy about. That's why, to this day, I still film almost all of my videos live on Twitch. Because when I film this way, people can ask questions, they can have pushback, they can disagree with me, and we can have these back and forths. And the result is I feel better about what I'm talking about. We get to learn about the things in a different way. And it feels more like those lunch and dinner conversations that I missed so much. And then we have the most important piece to take from all of this. I want to share how I build. That was always the point. The conversations I have on this channel are almost identical to the conversations I'm having offline when I'm talking with my friends in San Francisco about all of these things. The goal is to talk about these things because I'm excited about them, and hopefully, if the conversation goes well, you can learn something from it and build in a different and better way. It could even be that your learning is you disagree fundamentally with the way I'm doing things and can go off and do things your way more confidently. That is a more than acceptable takeaway to have as a result of watching my content and engaging with my community. I'm not looking to convince everybody that the way I am building is right. More, I'm trying to showcase a valid way of building that works well for me, so you can look at it and decide, do you want to take pieces from it? Do you want to avoid it at all costs? Do you want to adopt it in completion? Or just think about it? The goal of this isn't to turn every dev into a Theo. It is to have more devs understand how Theo builds, so maybe, just maybe, you can get something from it for your own work. And I really want those conversations. That has been an essential part for me. So this is a good starting point of why I have the channel and what some of my higher level goals are. But another important thing to talk about is what excites me. Because, point one, I'm just here to nerd out. Like, if there's a topic that I don't care about, that I know will get millions of plays, I don't film the video. If I don't care, I don't care. You cannot get me to do a video I don't feel like doing. You cannot pay me any amount of money to talk about something I don't want to talk about. Want to know a really funny thing? Probably shouldn't be sharing. In my onboarding email that I send to brands when I'm starting to work with them as sponsors, I have an FAQ section. And one of the questions in that FAQ is, how much does a dedicated video cost? As in, if a brand wants to pay me to do a video just about their specific thing, what does that cost? How do I do it? I actually have a number in there. The number is very, very high. I won't say how high, but I don't have the number there because I want a brand to take it. The number there is a red herring because every time a brand offers to do it, I increase the price by $10,000 and then tell them no. So the number in that email is literally just the number of people who have asked times 10K because I won't do this. You cannot pay me to do a dedicated video on a topic. If you do see me do a dedicated sponsor video in the future, know the reason isn't because they paid me an absurd amount, because the number in there is absurd. I'm getting those offers and I'm still saying no. It's because I don't think the content is good. But if I do a dedicated video for a brand, it's because we found something that I actually think is worth doing a video about. So this question in the FAQ literally is just there to bait brands. And honestly, when a brand asks to do it, I put a huge red flag on them in our tracker internally because that means they don't get what content does and doesn't resonate. What they want isn't for me to explain what's cool about them to my audience. They want the feeling of Theo doing a dedicated video on their thing because it feels like they're a real company all of a sudden. And I hate that shit. That's not why this exists. You cannot pay me to talk about a thing I am not interested in. So I just want to make that very, very clear because a lot of people are speculating that I'm being paid all this money to do all of these AI topics. No, that's not how it works. I'm doing all these AI topics because I have ideas for videos on AI stuff because I'm using it for all of the stuff that I'm doing every day. The other reason is messages like this. First-time chatter Thunder Jr. just said, he's migrating from Terso to Convex because of my video, and he cannot find the words to ever thank me enough. That is so fucking cool. And I want to be clear, that's not something I did. That's not because I'm exceptional or my videos are great or whatever. That's because this developer knew their solution wasn't good enough and was looking around for other things that might make sense. They probably would have still found Convex eventually from any of many other sources, but my source happened to be the one that they found first, that resonated the most, that convinced them to go try this other thing that worked out really well for them. But that's the goal. I am just your conversational partner, effectively, the equivalent of somebody talking to you at lunch about the thing. And if the way I talk about it gets you excited, awesome, go try it. And if the way I talk about it makes you disinterested, awesome, don't try it. Oh yes, I got Code King on Convex. It's so good. It's so cool. I love that. And that's not because I make money if Convex does well. In fact, because the sponsorship rates went up, I don't think I can justify keeping Convex as a sponsor. And also, even if they are willing to pay, I would feel bad because I want them to succeed so badly that I don't want them to pay way more than they should be for something. Because I'm going to shill Convex for free now because I just genuinely like it. So yeah, I'm not shilling Convex because they pay me. I gave Convex a closer look because they so badly wanted to be a sponsor. And when I did, I fell in love. And now most of the time I mention them, it's entirely for free. Hopefully that helps you understand that my video topics aren't based on what money I make or how much reach they can have. They are based on what I am most excited about. There's a lot of things on this list. Obviously, I love full stack type safety. That's been one of my nerdiest things forever. It's a big part of why the channel exists, is I was trying to explain back in the days where your APIs were these crappy REST endpoints or weird GraphQL structures, that full stack type safety wasn't a GraphQL code gen tool. It was a mindset that would change the way you built full stack applications. Now this is common knowledge and is just expected from the tools we use today, but it was not a thing at the time when I was preaching it, and I'm so happy the tides have turned since. They would have without me, but I'm thankful they have now, and I like to think I helped accelerate it some amount, especially with TRPC. So obviously, full stack type safety is something I care a lot about. I'm also just a general database nerd, in particular AppDBs. I'm not as interested in how do you make this crazy analytics database perform with trillions of rows. That's cool, but I'm more interested in the patterns and practices for keeping your data in sync with your users and all of the piping that goes between the two. One of the motivating factors for me being so interested in these things is I like building fast. I always have. This has been one of the key pieces for the T3 stack in a lot of the stuff I do since I started. My value when I was at Twitch was my ability to get a project that was falling behind back on track to hit its deadlines. And if I follow the things that I like, where they naturally bring me today, where I end up is what previously was full stack TypeScript in VS Code using TRPC and Prisma, now is full stack agentic development using things like Claude Code and Cursor, building on top of Convex and React and Vite. The tools I use and the framing and how I use them has shifted, but the things I like the most have not changed. And if you followed me from the start, you know I went from AI skeptic to, okay, it's cool for autocomplete, but all this vibe coding stuff is stupid and garbage, to the big oh shit moment for me, which was GPT-5. That was the what the fuck? I know y'all flame me at the time for that, but I think most of you guys had the same moment with Opus 4.5 now. If you haven't yet, you should go play with it more. The realization that these tools are no longer just useful for editing one file in line, but can build real useful applications and add actual features to giant code bases. That was a what the fuck moment for me. And I think more and more people are having that same moment too. My opinions on things change, not because someone paid me a whole bunch of money to change it. They change because my perspective shifts as I try new things and experience new stuff. I have a whole dedicated video coming out soon about all my opinions that have changed as a result of AI. Spoiler, I might actually support pre-commit hooks now, the thing that I've hated the most and be one of my primary focuses of destruction when I started this channel. My perspective shifts. And I know a lot of you guys are new here because again, when I look at the numbers, I went from having 50 subs to almost 500,000 of you. So most of you guys weren't here for the journey. You didn't see me go from not caring at all about AI to AI skeptic to, okay, this is somewhat useful to what the fuck. But that's a real journey I went through that is fully publicly documented on my channel. You can see every step along the way. That's part of why these comments are so frustrating to me, because most people don't have their whole journey through how their perspective has changed publicly documented for anyone to go look at and watch. And I'm so thankful for my members of my community, people hanging out in Twitch chat right now, who have been there since day one, watched this whole thing happen, many of which joined me on the same journey. So knowing all of this, I want to talk a bit about how I choose a topic for a video. Because another one of the questions I get all of the time is, what is your dream video that you would do if the algorithm wouldn't kill it? A question I get a lot, especially from people who aren't necessarily like watching YouTube too actively. They often ask, what is like my dream video that I would go do immediately if the algorithm wouldn't kill it? Because there's this theory that all of my videos are based purely on their ability to perform in the algorithm. And I understand why people think that way, because my videos perform very well, especially recently. My last like 6 broke 100K plays, which is still just insane to me. I don't think that way. I do think about algorithm performance, obviously. I think a lot about how my videos are watched. There's a couple things I would push back on here. The first big one is the use of the word algorithm. Generally speaking, if you replace the word algorithm with the word audience in a sentence and it now sounds stupid, it's because the sentence was stupid. If I say the algorithm didn't like the video, that's why it didn't perform, and then I frame it differently as the audience didn't like the video, that's why it didn't perform. Oh, yeah, maybe I should make a video the audience likes. It really does come down to that. There are layers to this, like, is the video clickable? Does it start in a way that's entertaining and interesting enough that you continue to watch from there? All of these pieces are important, but I'm not blocked by the algorithm from making certain content. In fact, it's actually kind of the opposite for me. Here, I'll give an example that didn't perform that I was really excited about. I did a video a while back called My Skateboard Taught Me How to Code. This is a thing I think about and care a lot about because my heart will always be in skateboarding. It's a huge part of who I am. It's a thing that I love dearly. It's why my whole hand was screwed up for so long. Skateboarding is a huge part of me. And the way it taught me to bounce back from failure is a thing that's really important to me. And I want to take the opportunity to share. This video fucking bombed. It's one of my worst performing videos of all time. I've tried rebranding it, repackaging it a whole bunch. I think the content itself is great, but it doesn't matter because the average developer does not give a fuck about my skateboard. And that is fine. This was early in my YouTube channel though, and as a result, the way I think about things has changed. There are different pieces of how I would rank a video idea. Obviously, there's my excitement level, like how excited am I about this topic? There is unique insights. This is an important one for me. Like, do I have anything unique to add? If somebody else has a video on the topic, it said everything I would want to say, I don't need to do the video. I do a video when I feel like I have something I can add to the conversation that wasn't there before. For a recent example of this, you can look at my Anthropic Burned So Much Trust video. This one was interesting because for the first time, I had a conflict of interest with my channel manager, Ben. Ben did this video before me. Funny enough, because I DM'd him a tweet about it, and then he went and tried and saw that it was indeed blocking him from using Claude Code subscriptions inside of OpenCode, which was his preferred way of building. He was pissed enough that he was considering doing a video, and I pushed him to go do it. And then I gave him the title and an idea for the thumbnail that he went with and did. And he did this all the night before I filmed mine because I was sick in bed. So he went and did it. On one hand, this kind of sucks because the good branding for the video got burned by one of my employees, but I actually don't care that much. I regularly will share all of the ideas I'm currently planning videos for live in my videos and on stream. Most of my audience has seen this list and is begging for me to go film specific videos they're excited about. If I was trying to hoard my ideas and make sure I had the first video on it, I wouldn't do that. If I could watch someone else's video for any of these topics, I would be excited to, especially if it was good, especially if it was good enough that I felt like I had nothing to add and I would just watch that video. Ben's video on this topic was really good, and I liked his perspective a lot. I would have just recommended people go watch his video and not done one, but I found a novel angle to go about with my take on it. In this case, with how the subscriptions work, my unique insight was talking about how the spend is being viewed on the business side. The fact that those high tier subscriptions had nothing to do with like making a bunch of money off of them. In fact, they cost money. The reason they do it is the marketing aspect of it. And I liked that angle a lot. So if I don't have a unique insight, I don't film the video. But there is one last aspect. Do people care? Is this a thing only I care about, or is this a thing others care about too? So to take this, my skateboard taught me how to code idea, that's 10 out of 10 exciting for me. Like, obviously, I really want to talk about this. Unique insight, also 10 out of 10. These are things I haven't seen others communicate. Obviously, nobody could talk about my love of my skateboard the way I can. But do people care? No. The result of this is that this video averages across these three categories to a much lower score, like a 6 or a 7. That makes it no longer a good idea. And this might seem like, oh, so the algorithm is going to kill the video so bad, so you're not going to do it now. So here's the weirdest thing that has changed over time for me. My excitement level isn't just this anymore. It's like, I would say excitement about topic is the simplest I would put it. Because my average here isn't average, it is overall hype. This is the weirdest shift that's happened for me over time, but it is now very deeply instilled. The topic of my skateboard taught me how to code no longer is 10 out of 10 exciting to me. The fact that people don't care makes it less exciting. Another way of putting this is that I can now be more than 10 out of 10 excited. Like if I have an idea that is 10 out of 10 to me, and I know that people will click on it and watch and enjoy it, that goes from 10 out of 10 to 12 out of 10. My ceiling for how excited I could be about a topic has gone up because so many of y'all will come and watch. And the idea of my excitement becoming a topic, becoming a conversation, having back and forth, and actually pushing the narrative forward makes the topic more exciting to me. Me talking about my skateboard isn't going to push any narratives forward. It's not going to meaningfully increase the quality of conversation that the average engineer has about this topic on Twitter or something. But my insights on how the Claude Code subscriptions work might actually do it. It's a multiplier. I really like the way that this chatter just put it. JW said, do people care? Has a 2x weight. Effectively, yes. It's a multiplier on my existing excitement and the unique insights I have to bring. So if I have like 10 out of 10 here, but people don't care, 10 times 0 is 0. If I have all of these things and people do care, 10 times 2 is 20, suddenly I rush out that video. Another good point from AI Code King in chat. Very thankful he's here for this because it helps a lot. Like the way you think about YouTube changes so fundamentally once you do it and once you start succeeding with it. And almost all of your preconceived notions will collapse really, really fast. AI Code King said that he used to rush out videos about new models, mainly because he didn't have much insight yet. Over time, covering the models, he got tons of more insight into things like pricing, the capabilities, and he built his own benchmarks. Now, if he posts a video about a new model, it's going to be like 3 days later, and it still performs well because people want to see his take more than they want to see the first video about the thing. This has happened to me too. There are lots of topics where I take more time on it because I'm too busy to film or I want to see more on it or collect feedback from others. Like I just finally filmed my Ralph Loop video 2 weeks after the topic was popular because I felt like I had enough insights and info to share something useful about it. So this is how I think about things. And here's where the harsh reality check comes in. As much as the non-AI topics excite me, it feels like there is now a huge chasm if it doesn't hit a certain bar. Previously, if I had a topic idea for a non-AI dev video, like, I don't know, the CSS changed in 2025 video that I was talking about before, all the things that change in CSS. This video, in terms of how much of my audience it appeals to, we'll say it's like a 6 out of 10. Previously, the range for this would have been like a 1 out of 10 would have gotten 5K plays. A 6 out of 10 would have gotten 40K plays. A 10 out of 10 would have gotten like 200K plays. That was the range before. The weird thing that's happened is due to the massive change in who is watching my channel and the interest of the people who are watching, is the gap between these has gotten massive. Even a 6, 7, or 8 out of 10 topic is going to perform significantly worse. This has been wild to watch, and I'm still trying to understand it. In my head, the gap between it was a wild year for CSS and how I parse billions of rows for every user in 2 seconds doesn't feel that big. And just a few years ago, they would have performed similarly. There might have been like a 10 to 20% gap between these two videos. But we're now in that classic, you must be this tall to get on the ride phenomena, where if you're not at a certain level and the topic isn't at a certain level of interest, it cannot perform well enough. I also do give minimum viewership guarantees to my sponsors. So if they don't hit a certain level of viewership, I end up giving them a free ad or replacing the ad on a different video to hit that minimum. So I'm actually in a danger zone if a video performs poorly enough where I lose a significant amount of money. That said, if I care enough about the thing, I will post it, I will rebrand it, I will try different things. But my excitement on doing videos about CSS went down a ton as a result of that video bombing. And this isn't because the algorithm hates the video. This isn't because people only click AI videos. It is simply a matter of how interest has shifted, where an average dev video has just fully dropped off. Like, people don't care about average levels of interest in dev topics. An average video about some AI thing massively outperforms an average video about a traditional dev thing. Exceptional ideas will always break out of this because in the end, what sells on YouTube is novelty. If you have a good novel idea for a good novel piece of content, it will break out from all of this shit. But an average video is necessary for us to survive, and also for me to just get all the things I want to talk about off my chest. If I don't talk and share a certain number of things in a given day, I start to go crazy. And ideally, the things I talk about will be heard by others, and we can have the conversation that makes this whole thing worth it. So if I can only put out so many videos and I only have so much time to talk, it feels genuinely like a waste of time to go deep in the weeds for 40 minutes to an hour on a thing that most of y'all won't click. And this can change the same way it changed here. If I start doing more of these types of videos and they perform better than expected, I'll lean more into this. For example, the logging video, we screwed up the export initially, and the first version that went up was too short and had most of the content missing. So we had to re-upload it, which destroys the video performance because a lot of people already saw it, so they won't click it, which kills the click-through rate, which kills the video. Despite that, it still got almost 50K plays in 11 days. I thought that video was destined to do worse than the CSS video. That was really interesting to me and gets me more excited to talk about stuff like this video. I'm excited about the idea of going deeper on real production systems because these two videos about my real production systems performed better than my intuition suggested they would. I thought these would bomb, and they didn't. The Next.js video, I had no idea how that would do. I talked about it with the team a whole bunch. We were struggling to figure out what brand to put on it because we had no idea who would watch it, if anyone would watch it, and it slaughtered 120K plays. That gets me more excited to talk about my stack again. It's not that I am not talking about these things because the algorithm hates them. It's that my excitement comes some part by how well the things I'm excited about resonate. I'm hyped on this thing and I want to talk about this thing, and you watch the thing and you enjoy the thing and share it with your friends, and then it performs better, my excitement goes up genuinely. It's also worth noting that this is a difference between my channel and a lot of other channels in tech YouTube. Smaller ones like Ben's, like AI Code King, and a lot of the other newcomers are similar to me, where almost every topic they are covering, the majority of the content they're making, the thumbnails, the editing process, all of this comes from them. But a lot of the bigger channels don't write their scripts, don't come up with their topics, don't plan their videos, don't even watch their videos when they're done. I still do a lot of my thumbnails. I still do all of the content planning and processing myself. I'm hopefully going to start to offload a little bit of that, but I choose what I make videos about. And I'm the one who puts the idea on the board still. Every single topic in this list is something I wrote down and put here still. And that's a huge difference between me and others. And I understand why there's so much skepticism. Because if you know anything about how other YouTubers work, I'm not saying this name to call them out. I'm saying this name as a good reference point. Linus Tech Tips. Linus did not write the majority of the words he says in his videos. If Linus is in a video, there's a 90+% chance it's a script someone else wrote and a topic somebody else came up with in a video that he is being pulled in to act out. I am not an actor. Even my sponsors can't give me things to say. When one of my sponsors has a specific thing they want me to say in a video, I usually just tell them outright no, or I help them turn it into not a quote, but a list of bullet points that I have to hit on in my video. I've had one brand ever strictly say I have to include a specific sentence in the ad, and I almost cut them off as a result, and I finally convinced them to stop doing that. Every word in my videos is either something I am saying because I believe it, not handed to me by anybody else. I don't say things others write for me, and if I do, I show on the screen what they said. Like I grab a quote from a chatter and say their username as I do it, or I'm reading an article and have the link in the description and the name of the author on the screen. I say things because I believe them or I am reading them, not because someone wrote them for me to read off to you. And that's not how most of these channels work. And I understand why people are skeptical. They see me the same way they see other channels. And if your understanding of how these things work comes from those other channels, it only makes sense. Somebody who's posting videos every day with 500K subs should probably have their scripts written by someone else so they can have a life still. I don't have a life. This is all I do. I write code, I run my business, I talk shit on YouTube. So what the fuck does any of this have to do with all my AI topics? I like building fast, and AI tools are finally at the point where I can build fast, I can build different, and I can build things that I never built before. And that's genuinely really exciting to me. Watch my Claude Code video. I was so genuinely hyped about a product and a company that I don't actually like that much, that I've talked so much shit on in the past. But when I saw the impact on how it affected what I was building, how I was building, and how I was thinking about what I was building, I got excited as fuck. I was nerding out about this so much that my friends were telling me that I was being annoying about it, which is when I knew I had to go do a video. Or another example that Maria's pulling up in chat, I filed 5 pull requests at 4 in the morning on a GitHub repo for a random project I was excited about. I was super curious about this Vibe Kanban thing, so I started using it. Yes, my UI changes went through. The whole UI for this sidebar was rewritten by me because I was so annoyed by a handful of weird UI quirks that existed. I rewrote the layout system, I rewrote the sidebar, I gave them a ton of feedback. I filed a ton of PRs on this random project I had just discovered between 3 and 6 in the morning because I was excited about it. And I still haven't done a video on any of this, and I don't even know if I will. It just happened because I wanted to. My ADHD rules my life. And that's why my channel is so different. And that's why it seems like my interests are being led by money. They're not. They're being led by my interests. My ADHD has brought me here. My interests have brought me here. And if you talk to me in person, the things I talk about have shifted the same way as they have on the channel. Nobody who knows me IRL is saying that I sold out to the AI gods. A bunch of commenters who parasocially know me through the videos they hate watch certainly think I sold out. Cool. I get it. You're fucking stupid and wrong. I do want to focus a little more on this average video thing because it's essential. Most of my videos can't perform great. That's the nature of being a content creator. You expect most videos to perform poorly. And a lot of my job is trying to raise the floor of my video performance. I have way more topics than I have time to talk and space on my channel. If I do 2 videos a day, they perform worse. 1 a day seems to be the right balance point where videos don't totally clobber each other. So I need to have a high enough floor. So when I think about an average video, I need to make sure the average video is interesting enough to drive clicks, be exciting, be watched, and make meaningful impact in the people who are watching it in the conversation that the video is about. And right now, the hard truth is that an average non-dev video, one that I'm not super excited about, that isn't super appealing to you guys, isn't going to perform. And one last hot take on that, there just isn't much going on in the non-AI dev world. If I wasn't talking about AI, there would just be fewer videos because there isn't that much going on. And half the time I'm excited enough about a thing, you guys aren't. And that sucks. I wish that you guys care enough about CSS that I could do more videos on it, but I also wish there was more going on in CSS so I had more to talk about. Some part of this is because Tailwind killed all of the CSS options and React killed a lot of the JavaScript frameworks. Not that they don't exist, but they are much less interesting to the average person because React and Tailwind are so much so good enough that people don't care about everything else. Everything in my list is exciting enough for me to talk more about it, but it isn't exciting enough for people to watch it. And I end up less excited about the thing if I know people don't care. My excitement is fueled some amount by that, not by the algorithm, but by y'all. If a video gets less comments, less interest, and has less discussion, it is now a less interesting topic to me. And this could change in the future. If way more cool dev tools start coming out and people are interested in that, I will be too. Believe it or not, I am just like most of you guys. I follow what's exciting to me. I click on what's exciting to me. The difference is I also film videos about what's exciting to me. And the same reason you won't click the video is the reason I'm not filming it, because neither of us care enough. It is what it is. There is one last thing I have to address. What about T3 chat and all of your investments? Those have to be influencing you, right? Like, obviously, the only reason you're talking about these things is because they make you money. That's clearly a factor in your stuff. This is just the stupidest cart before the horse I've ever seen. Let's rethink this one a little bit. Remember before how I was an AI skeptic? Let's be realistic here. I'm a person who has literally thrown away $5 to $10 million by refusing paid video deals for companies and products I wasn't interested in. That's more money than I made in the entirety of my career as a developer. And I've thrown it away because I don't want to film a video about a thing I don't care about. Do you legitimately think that person who cannot be gotten out of bed for a big number if they don't care about the thing they're talking about, but will then go do it for free if they like the topic? Realistically speaking, is that person going to dedicate their life, their brand, their business, and their best friends who are building their company with them to a thing they don't like that much because it could make some money? No. I made T3 Chat because I was super, super hyped on DeepSeek v3. T3 Chat only exists because I got way too hyped about DeepSeek and I hated the chat interface for it. Yep, that's where it came from. It's that simple. I made T3 Chat because my stance on AI changed. The order of events wasn't T3 Chat made money, so I talk about AI more. It was the opposite. I liked AI more because this thing that happened impressed me. I had issues with it, so I fixed the issues, released that as a product, talked a whole bunch about it because it was exciting to me. And unlike the other 6 things I released, this one did really well. My honest take with it, to just be very real here, is when I looked at the numbers for T3 Chat and the T3 tools/ping business, they didn't look great. We had a couple different products. We had Ping, which made about $5K a month. We had Upload Thing, which made about $4K a month. And we had Pick Thing, which made about $1.5K a month. Business expenses were about $25K a month. And when I looked at this, my realization was, Pick Thing wasn't that hard to build and is making more money than I expect. If we can do that 5 to 10 more times and average like 2 to 4K MRR, maybe we can hit this number and I don't have to shut down my company. Because we had 2 employees, mostly full-time, and myself taking the smallest possible salary. We were trying to find a way to not go out of business. And my honest thought was, maybe if we have a couple more products, like 5 to 10 other small things, and enough of them make money, we can survive. And my expectation was that T3 Chat would show up on here at like, I don't know, maybe best case, 3K a month. It hit that number in the first day and has since grown an absurd amount. I could never have imagined that. But I didn't build T3 Chat expecting it to make the money it makes today. I won't share that number because I need to hold that tight for investors because we might have to raise money again in the future if I want to go harder on it. But everything else combined was a wash. T3 Chat made more money than the rest of my business within 2 weeks of launching. I did not think that was even slightly possible when we did it. T3 Chat was not an attempt to cash out. It was an attempt to solve a real problem I had with things I was excited about and hope that eventually that, alongside other things I would build, would keep my company from going out of business. Another way of putting this is, if you don't think Pick Thing changed the stuff I talk about in my content, it makes no sense to say differently about T3 Chat. Pick Thing was a solution to a problem I had, which was managing my assets for content creation and getting the backgrounds out of the images of me that I use in my thumbnails. I solved the problem I had with tools I was excited about. I did many videos where I showcased it, and it didn't convert. T3 Chat just so happened to do really well. To me, there is no difference between these beyond how successful they ended up being. They started the same way, they were built the same way, they were released the same way. The difference was that you guys happened to really like T3 Chat, which is awesome, and I'm so thankful for you guys for it. I never could have imagined we would be where we are today. My expectation was that T3 Chat would be the next of like 5 to 6 more things. Tool 5, Tool 6, Tool 7, etc. And that through this, we would break even and I wouldn't have to worry about firing my friends. And now I can do that with just T3 Chat, and that is awesome. The company is now profitable. T3 Chat makes money. I am very thankful for that. I still make almost no money off of it, though, to be very clear. I bumped my salary a bit because my tax people said if I don't, then I might get fucked and the businesses might be combined into one entity for taxing, which would be really bad. So I had to pay myself a bit more. Still not much. I'm making like 80K a year or so, I think, off of T3 Chat, like as my salary as an employee of the company. And that's mostly so I can give myself benefits and health insurance. That is less than a fifth of what I made as an engineer at Twitch. T3 Chat is not motivating me to talk about different things. T3 Chat is the result of my excitement for a thing. The videos are a result of the excitement for a thing. The order of events a lot of people say I have is Theo wants money, so Theo makes AI product, and then Theo talks about AI so he can sell product. This is the order of events a lot of commenters seem to think happened. The reality is this, though. Theo is suddenly more excited about AI. And when this happens to me, it consumes my life. This is how I am. When something excites me, it becomes most of me. The simplest way I can explain the difference in how my commenters describe why I talk about things and how I actually do it is this. They think I'm going from my desire for money to making a thing to sell to then doing videos, when in reality, my excitement about the thing has me building products and talking about the thing because it's exciting. But what about my investments? Come on. Obviously, that's the exact same thing. I invest in the things I'm excited about because my investments are conviction bets on the things I care about. I passed up on a lot of AI investments that would have made me a lot of money because I just didn't care about the things they were building or AI in general at the time. I almost passed on Cursor. The only reason I said yes is because a person I was really excited about told me I really should do it. Thank you, Yoko from A16. She's still by far one of my favorite people in the VC world, even if I have mixed feelings about lots of other things. Yoko's awesome. She pushed that I really should consider that option. So I did a call with them. I had a ton of problems. I complained in depth to them. And within an hour, they sent me a follow-up email addressing every single complaint I had with fixes, recommendations, and mindset things that I should get over if I really wanted to appreciate what Cursor could do for me. It was the combination of Yoko telling me to invest in it, how impressed I was with that first email they sent me as a follow-up. That's why I invested in Cursor. Even though I didn't use the product, I had churned off it multiple times and didn't think it was that good. I invested for those reasons because I was excited because of those things. My excitement led me to writing the check, and that ended up going way better than I ever could have imagined. But that's how I base my life. I'm not doing all these crazy calculations on this thing's going to perform this well, but that'll perform that well, and I can make this money from this thing. It is a much simpler thing. Am I excited about the thing? Do I have something to add? And do other people care enough for me to put the effort in? And if the answer to all of those is yes, I go do the thing. Whether it's an investment, a video, a product, or whatever else, it's all driven by my excitement and my ADHD. And if you know me in person at all, you know this is the case. I cannot be motivated to do things that I'm not excited about to the point where I have to hire out for those things now, which sucks. And this is also why I'm not taking ads for things like VPNs and food subscription services, because none of that shit excites me. So I can't talk about it in a way that's exciting. I don't take on sponsors if I wouldn't organically recommend the company to a person at lunch or dinner. And I really try to frame it that way with the companies I work with and the companies I invest in. I could make so much money if I just let go of that and do ads for whatever. But if I wouldn't actually recommend it to somebody offline, you're not going to end up in my videos, even if you pay me. Do you know what's really funny about this video? It's not going to change a thing. I know that as I film it here. I'm sitting here thinking through what the comments will look like. And on this video, they'll be slightly better than average. And then the next AI video I do is going to be all of the exact same stuff. But I'm not doing this video to change my audience and to change the shit comments that are appearing. I'm doing this video because it's exciting to me. This is a topic I care a lot about. I talk about all of the time offline. And to honor the thing I always do on this channel, I'm going to film this video because it's a thing I want to talk about. And in the end, that's what my videos are. But hopefully the people who don't comment, which is over 99% of you, might have some of your concerns eased by this. My videos aren't based on what makes me money. My money is based on what's exciting to me, much like my topics are, my videos are, my conversations in person are, the business relationships I build are. Everything comes from what I'm excited about. And I am so privileged to be in a position where I can do that, where the things I put my effort into are the things that I'm excited about and care about. And I promise you guys, if that ever changes, you will be very, very clearly able to tell. It's obvious when I'm not excited about a thing because I am much less interested, thereby much less interesting. So yeah, to summarize, I make AI videos because AI stuff's exciting to me. The reason it's exciting to me is because I'm using it a lot and it's actually helping a lot with the things that I'm building. And if you want proof of that, you can go look at my commit history. You can see clearly that I am using these things every day and enjoying them a lot. Maybe this will change somebody's mind. Probably won't, but you get the idea. I'm going to end this one before the topic stops being exciting. Until next time, peace, nerds.